You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Boy, I tell you, you know what the scariest thing could ever be in broadcasting is dead air. And that happened here tonight. Long story short, my son goes, "Hey, where can I hide these spare keys?" And I said, "I'll put them up on top of that big server case up there where, all my equipment is." He did, but it dropped in through the fan and then down through a whole bunch of servers and some other stuff. And then I noticed some things were smoking. So twice this week, I had a mixer burn up the other night, and now I lost one of my servers, but we're still, getting out to all the radio stations. We're just a little bit late. James, I tell you what, Area 51, you're saying it was now canceled. That makes me feel so much better because, as you know, you heard me last night, again, repeat numerous times, and actually the last 2 days, don't go to Area 51. If you do, don't step on the property.
Well, it said festival. I don't know if that includes the storming or not. So it didn't, listen, they may still be planning to storm that day. I know it did say the big festival is canceled. Hopefully it means they're not storming either.
Now, where did you find that at?
It was on a couple different sites.
No, just tell me it wasn't on Facebook, because I can't believe everything on Facebook.
No, it wasn't on Facebook. No, I don't. I know everything on Facebook is true, but I don't go by it.
Oh, yeah, everything on Facebook is true. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay. And how many relationships have you met off Facebook that were true?
None, because I didn't have any off there, so I stay away from there. That's all bad.
Is that real? Are you being honest to all the listeners?
Yes,
you're not fibbing. You didn't get a couple girlfriends off of Facebook and then find out that they didn't look anything like the picture is, huh?
Oh, I've met all kind of people that, you see their picture and you're like, oh yeah, she looks about 40, but they're really like 75. It's like, what is going on? They tricked you. I don't know what kind of apps they got out there now, but they got the one. I know they got the ones that make you look older, but they got the ones that make you look much younger.
I need one of those. I need to be in my 40s again.
You wouldn't know what to do with yourself, Gary.
Well, I could run. It's better than going like I am right now. But at 40 years old, it was the cream of the crop of my life.
Well, it's only going to get better from now. You got to look forward, Gary. It will get better, believe me.
Oh, okay. Okay, Dr. James.
I won't charge you for that bit of advice either.
Yeah, it can't get any worse, so it has to get better. Trust me.
That's right. That's right. You talk about your past relationship, your first wife, a few times. I mean,
but you're lucky I never talked about my second wife.
Maybe you're lucky.
I am very lucky. I actually, I really had no hostile feelings towards her. I married her on the rebound from my first wife, and I'm the one that went and got the marriage annulled the second time. But then, after we got the marriage annulled on my second marriage, we got married again, and then the next morning I go, what in the blankety I do? So I called up my attorney, went to the attorney's office, we both signed papers. I gave her a whole bunch of money and said, hey, we're not married.
Wait a minute. Time out. So let me get this straight. Your second wife, you married, but then you thought, no, that's a mistake, so you annulled it. But then you went back and married her again. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. I dated her for about 6 months, okay? But then, after we went and got married, and I said, I do. And then we started off on our honeymoon. And then we went into the room, and I told her, you sleep in that bed, I sleep in that bed. I just realized it was a big mistake. I wasn't ready to get married again. And,
you know what they call that? They call that buyer's remorse.
Yeah. So this poor girl, she cried and cried and cried. And the next day we went to my attorney and we had the marriage annulled. And then we didn't see each other for about a month or two. And then she called me out of the blue. We went out a couple times. And then I go, oh, maybe I'm ready for marriage. And we went and got married. And then as soon as we got sign the papers with the minister, I said, wait a minute. I don't want to be married. I just don't want to be married. And the minute it was a lady minister, and she started, trying to counsel me. And she goes, well, I can't just tear this license up. I says, why can't you? She goes,
Yes.
well, God, because, you're in a house of worship. We weren't in a house of worship. She had a business out of her house. The bottom of her house was her church. Anyway, so then the next thing I did, I called up Carl, my attorney, and I said, hey, can I come in again? He goes, what? Are you going for another annulment? I go, yeah, with Debbie. So, I drug Debbie there, and she goes, well, wait a minute. I'm just not going to sign this. I said, what would it take? And she goes, well, I want a new car. She got it. She got the new car. I got out of the marriage. She signed the annulment papers with me. It was over with. And you know what? I wasn't ready to be married. It wouldn't have lasted. Because
if you weren't ready.
I went 2 years later. I went into an Albertsons grocery store to get a maple bar, and there was my wife. She was behind, she was a cake decorator, which I love maple bars. And she made me a special, topping on a maple bar. I fell in love with her right away. And, and about 5 months later, we got married, and I've been married now 43 years.
Wow. Well, the second one sounded, your second and third were kind of like A and B, or -1, -2. That sounded to be a little bit expensive, possibly.
Yeah, but remember, my first wife was a witch.
Yeah.
Witch. Not the word B, but with a W, witch. And that was the one when I came home. I did 2 jobs. I was working at a radio station and at night, and during the day, I worked in a cement company. And you know what I did? There was a hopper. Okay, so I put so many shovelfuls of sand in, so many shovelfuls of concrete mix, and so many shovelfuls of gravel. And I did that all day, and we made big sewer pipes for the county. And I did that. And you're talking about, that was a 8-hour job plus a 4-hour job. So I was putting in 12 hours a day, and working in the cement company really wore you out shoveling. And I remember coming home, and then I came home early one night, and here's all these people in our apartment. They had that funny symbol, drawn on the floor in chalk on our linoleum floor. They had the coffee table. They had the Ouija board, and, they were wearing robes. And they were black robes. And my wife was like shocked to see me because I was home like 3 hours earlier. And I guess they were in the middle of doing some spells. And I tell you, it was a shock because I didn't know my wife was a witch.
I got to tell you, that had to be definitely a shock. She had a whole nother life going on you didn't know about during the day. Those robes kind of reminded me whenever I stumbled upon that barbecue at midnight on Halloween about 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, that proves the point. You go out in the woods, okay? You go there with no self-protection. You go out where you shouldn't be because and then you see somebody having a barbecue where they're going around the fire pit with a goat chained up, right? Dead giveaway when they're wearing robes. You shouldn't be there, James.
Listen to me. I could take care of myself, but I was well outnumbered. That was the problem. So I definitely backed out of there even slower than I arrived. Let me tell you.
Did you wet your pants like I did when I saw the Bigfoot?
No, I didn't wet my pants, but I was sure glad to get out of there. I know that that was a shock. I mean, especially afterwards when I found out where it was and what it was related to, and there was a cult. Like killers that were actually abducting homeless people and prostitutes and killing them.
Yeah,
and,
so you would
I'm
have
sure
been.
I would have been a candidate if they had seen me for sure.
Yeah, that would be so scary, James. I know you said that story before, but I think, and to be honest with you, what I ran into. We were up in Kelso, Washington. When this thing happened with my first wife, that's where we moved to. And do you know, the radio station I was working at, It went from top 40. I applied for the job. That's why we moved that area. And when I walk in there, they said, "Oh, we're not doing top 40 anymore. We're doing talk radio, starting with you." And
you were going right into it.
And the only thing I could think of when I was waiting for that couple minutes to talk to the program director, the station manager, and the owner, the newspaper was right there, and it was talking about some occult and people missing in the area. So, I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about witchcraft and occults and all that stuff. Perfect tie-in. And you know what? It just now dawned on me. What was my wife doing at that time? Aha! Okay. Hey, I just thought about that. I put 2 to 2 together just right now. How many years ago? Ooh.
Right. My goodness. That had to be a shock to come home, and not just her doing that, but a whole house full of strangers participating in some board games.
They also, I came home a couple times early because, something I wasn't feeling good. So, I get done with the cement company. Maybe I worked a little bit over in the cement company. I had an hour or two to kill before I did my air shift. So, I remember coming home. It was all kinds of strange things. I can tell you. I'll tell you off air what I walked into one time. These witchcraft, occult things, you don't want to be involved in it. Trust me.
No, I don't want to be involved. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong or anything. It's just wrong
it's
for me.
Wrong.
It's just wrong for me. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. So, like last night with the guests I had, we were talking about, again, gypsies putting on curses. And we were talking about the only way a curse works is if you believe in it. But do you believe? I watch all these sci-fi movies, right? I was just watching one a couple nights ago where this guy, accidentally with his wife, he's fatter than I was, right? He was an attorney and he ate everything he could see. And he weighed about 350 pounds. That sounds familiar at one point. And him and his wife were coming home from the restaurant, and they hit this old lady that walked out of the store. She was a gypsy, and he killed her. So, the son comes running out of the store to see what happened to his mother, sees his mother there laying there dead, and he notices the guy, that did it is there. So he kind of mumbles something and takes his hand to the side of his face. So what he did is he put a spell on this guy to lose weight. Not just to get him thin. He would just lose weight like mad. So the guy started losing weight like 20 pounds a week. So he went from 350, he went down to 300 to 280, 260, 240, 180, 160, 145. And then, the only way, that he contacted one of his people that he represented was with the mob. So they figured, okay, we'll take out these gypsies, and that they'll then, take the spell off you. Well, that didn't work. Finally, he made some deal with the guy. And what he had to do is they made him a strawberry pie. And now you got to get somebody to eat this pie. And then the curse will go on to them.
Oh, my goodness.
Meanwhile, he found his wife was cheating on him with the doctor. And so he, told his wife when he came back home, hey, I got your favorite, a strawberry pie. So she ate it. And so in the middle of the night, she shriveled up to nothing. But his one daughter that he loved so much was supposed to have been spending the night at a friend's house, came home early, saw the strawberry pie, and she ate some.
Oh, boy.
And then went off to play soccer. Could you imagine him in the middle of the soccer game? She's gone.
Yeah, there's always repercussions with those things. And believe it or not, I actually know how to remove curses and spells off people. And there's some of them's hard, some's not, some's harder. And it depends how they do them and stuff. But it's all negative. I mean, it just is.
Well, do you guarantee people that you can remove a curse? Come on. If a gypsy puts a curse on me, you telling me you can actually remove it?
There's no guarantee to anything, but I do know certain ways to do certain things to help it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Again, I think a lot